Nobody needs to see me true up a piece of wood and put a tenon on it. So that's what our, yes, you're in bad shape if you don't know how. This is a piece of Bradford pear. This is a piece of mystery wood. We think it's sycamore, and I think that's what this witch right here was made of, was a sycamore. Can you see it? All right. And this witch here that is dyed black was made out of the Bradford pear. This I turned today, right shortly before we come. I spent about 30 minutes or so on it. This is Osage orange, and this is going to be a witch when I'm done with a pumpkin head on it. Of course, you can't have witches without a witch cauldron. So if you want to make a cauldron to go with a witch for your Halloween, and then it's brewing some bad stuff in here. So what I've done is I've made up a storyboard for witch, and what this one is this is made up for a 3-inch diameter. And this is turned down to 3 inches right now. It's a little wider down here. I'm going to leave the base a little bit wider so the skirt has a little bit of flare down here. So we're not going to take much off. We'll just when we shape that into it. So what we're going to do now is, since we've trued up and we reverse mounted and we're in our chuck, what we're going to do is we want to lay out this diameter, the distance, and this diameter here on the waist. Then we're going to need to know this diameter right here, and then we're going to know this diameter. Then we're going to use a parting tool, and we're going to part down and get these 3 diameters here, and then we'll proceed from there to shape the shoulder and the skirt area. So I've got 3 1/4 there. Let's make this one just a little taller. We'll go 3 1/2. And this thing is just, all right, what haven't I done here? Yeah, I'm not getting, it's not coming on, Keith. There we go. I got to turn the darn dial. Hey. All right. Okay, that gets us the skirt diameter and the shoulder. If you'll notice, the shoulders come in at a slope, and there's a slight slope there. So when we do the parting on this here, we're going to part on the further side of the line. So we'll set everything up there. We want to go, yeah, we'll make that small. My storyboard has, the next one is 5/8. We're going to go 3/4 because, actually we're going to go 7/8 because this storyboard was made for the smaller of the 2 witches, and I don't like the shoulder under here. I think it needs to come down more and give it more definition. And you can see where I've run this down more on this one here. I think it gives it a better look. So I'm adjusting that. And then I'm going to get the hat, if you look, is a little wider than the shoulder part, the furthest shoulder. And we're going to go to the top of that, 1 inch. We'll go 1 1/8. That'll work out better. And this was originally set up for a 6-inch tall one. Since I've adjusted a few of these dimensions, we're going to make this one we're going to come down and make sure we're going to make this one approximately between 7.5, 8 inches tall, around there. And then this is always nice to have this, so when you're turning, you can look at the shape. I didn't get time to make copies of this, or I would have. And depending on your branch, how wide the diameter or how narrow, you can adjust it a little bit after you turn it. And you can see I use the same. They're not the same, but you can get the idea. Any questions about the layout on the parting? So now with this here, I'm going to measure across this diameter here, and I've got it measured here at 1 1/4. And since I sized this up a little bit, I'm going to make this diameter 1 3/4, and then that way we can always turn down if it's still a little bit too thick. So this one here, when I part down right here, is going to go. I'm going to part it down to 1 3/4. That's my 2-inch. And that is that caliper right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you get a little under or a little over, just work with it. Design opportunity. Oh, now I forgot which one. A little bit more. That's close enough for that. So this is where we're going to shape our skirt down into the skirt of the witch into the waist, and then the shoulder is going to start here and slope down. So now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to put this part in, and the shoulder is going to be taller on the diameter. And I had here 2 inches on the diameter, but we're going to increase the shoulder width to 2 1/4. We can always adjust it if it doesn't look right. I parted on that side of the line. Once again, we're going to part on this side of the line. Actually, I'm going to come over a little bit more because I want to make sure I got enough shoulder. I hope I didn't take that in too far. Just right. Now we're going to part down to the diameter of the hat here, what the outside brim of the hat will be. And I've got 2 2 5/8. We're going to make that, let's see here. We're going to make it, well, I got this set at here. We're going to make it 2 3/4. We can always shrink the hat if we need to. As this is shoulder, head. That'll make enough head height. Okay. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to come this way a little bit more. Let's see. The hat. That's close enough. Now I'm going to run a part down out here because we're going to bring the, which isn't going to go as tall as what I got here in the blank. So I'm going to give myself just a reference point out here. That hat's going to look good about there. Any questions to this point? All right. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to get rid of this wood here because it's in the way. That's too slow. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the brim of the witch's hat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little of this wood away and just do a little preliminary shaping. Okay, that's the width of the hat. So I'm going to take a little more off here. That'll do for now. Now I'm going to come back up here on the storyboard, and right here where the rim of this hat is, I'm going to put this, I'm going to go take this down to the width of the head. We're going to make it, we'll go with 1 5/8 on the head. Let's see. And then we can always shrink it if we need to. That do with you. That's going to be close enough for now. Any questions? To make the face? We'll get to that. All right. All right. I took that away. This is not the right distance yet here. I took away one of my dimensions. Oh, there it is. Let's see here. What did we have? I got to take this piece down the shoulder. And that was 2 inches. Let's see. We went 2 3/4. 2 1/4 is what I want to take that down to. Yeah. Right to that's what I had. Okay. Now we're going to take down the shoulder width. We're going to bring it down to the outer part of the shoulder. I still got part of my mark there. Any questions? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the bottom part of this shoulder. And I'm going to start. I'm going to use this parting tool to start it. I don't know if I'll finish with it. But I'm going to start right about in here. And I'm going to turn this down in here. This is probably going to get a little narrower as we go. I'm going to bring it down to that to start with. I'm going to shape the skirt into that. I'm going to use something I got a little more control with. Now we wound up with a nice piece of bark for the back or the front. And if you look at the shape, how it contours, it's probably not the same as this, but pretty close. I don't like that. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, that's what I forgot, that big one. Let me see if I got a little mark here. I'm going to see if I can get out of here. I'm going to put just a little dish in the skirt there. Give it a little more shape. skew using it as a scraper. Any questions at this point? This is all pretty easy to get to in sand. If you get some marks or whatever in it, that's all right. I'm going to come back and I'm going to start cutting the shoulder and cutting into the neck here. And then I'll decide whether or not I want to take my waist down a little bit more. Always cheat. Got your picture there. I'm going to go a little smaller with the head yet. When you're doing this, you've got to remember half your head's probably, you want to make half your head look like it's up in the hat. Or thereabout. That's a pretty good size. I got to do a little work there. Not with that tool. You can do that with this detail gouge if you have one of them. If not, this is just a reground scraper. That looks good. I'm not going to get in there with that and take a chance of catching it. Did I bring that other one? No, I did not. Nope. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to bring the waist down a little bit. because I think it'll look better that way. That's good enough. I'm going to cut a little more, make this a little rounder on the head. I think it'll look a little bit better with a little more shape to it. This you'll have to get in a hand sand. This is cut pretty nice. This Bradford pear cuts real nice. It won't take much to clean that up. This you can sand this too. Let's see if I can get a little bit better cut on this. That's better. I don't have to do so much sanding. Can't get it in there right. All right. There's another way to do that. A little bit more. I got some marks there yet. Those will be okay. I'll leave them in there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to sharpen the burr up to this side because I'm going to clean that up a little bit. It's gone. Any questions to this point? I'm going to go with this shape right here. Now, and the head I think is okay. It's a little bit big. You can make it a little smaller. It's up to you. The neck, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to shape the hat now. Now, I was told by my wife that this is a witch's hat because it's thicker up in here, and then it has like a little drops down, and it don't have a point on it. She told me she didn't like that hat. So we're going to try getting close to this shape here. It's up to you what you like or don't like. Do what? This is smaller. It's a little harder to tell. I think it looks like a witch's hat. So if you ever watched Harry Potter and the Sorting Hat, that's a witch's hat. And that's a good sample of one right there. Here's what I want. Don't do this. That's too high. I like to bring this portion down right here just a little bit bigger than the head, like it's sitting down and the head has pushed that out. This is where I'll normally stop and sand all of this here. It's not critical. You can part it off and still sand all that. I don't like that. That's a tool mark. Too much sanding still. All right, we can sand that. All right, I'll just use it. I'm going to part this off here. Any questions? Let me take it out of here. You take a look at it. Then you can sand it. This is dry wood. It'll clean up. You can finish it. It's not a project that takes real long. I'll pass it around. Take a look at it. That's it, gentlemen, ladies. Any questions? I was going to make some copies of. I didn't get time. I didn't take time. Let me put it that way. I take over to my bandsaw, saw it off as close as I can, and I got a belt sander, and I just sand it flat. That's what I do with it. And then if I really want it to just sit on the edges, I'm afraid of it, then I got another power carving tool that just I can cut some of the out of it. Yes. You could do a recess. I don't know why, but you got you're only dealing with 3.5 inches there, so you're forcing outward on it. And you've seen how aggressive I got with it. Yes, because when I put my tenon on between centers. You know, so if you're going to put a recess, if you cut it and you had a drill bit that worked for, you could go over a drill press and drill it, you know, but it's easier for me just to put a tenon on it, and then I got a bandsaw, I just cut it off. If you got a handsaw or whatever, that's what I do. And then if you know a guy's got it, if you don't have a bandsaw, you know a guy's got a shop that's got one, you always bring it down there and have it and do it there. Any other questions? I guess that's it. We've done it.